Good morning, everyone. This is Teacher Joanna, and I will be your teacher in mathematics. Now, before we start our lesson, let us first have this drill. Are you ready? Okay, so everyone, let us have 18 divided by 3, 21 divided by 3, 24 divided by 3, 27 divided by 3, and 30 divided by 3. So everyone, 18 divided by 3 equals 6, 21 divided by 3 equals 7, 24 divided by 3 equals 8, 27 divided by 3 equals 9, and 30 divided by 3 equals 3. Altogether, 18 divided by 3 equals 6, 21 divided by 3 equals 7, 24 divided by 3 equals 8, 27 divided by 3 equals 9, and 30 divided by 3 equals 10. Okay, so very good. Now, before anything else, let me show you an equation, and then we're going to answer. Okay, so everyone, the first equation is 75 minus 15. So, 75 minus 15 equals. Okay, very good. Okay, so it's 60. So 75 minus 15 is 60. So what operation did we use? Okay, so we used subtraction. How about this one? 120 plus 150. Okay, so very good. So 120 plus 150 equals 270. So what operation did we use? Okay, very good. It is addition. Now, what sign did we use in addition? Okay, very good. The plus sign. Okay, how about in subtraction? Okay, very good. It is the minus sign. Okay, so today, everyone, we are going to talk about adding and subtracting decimals. So what are we going to talk about? Adding and subtracting decimals. Now, before anything else, are you ready to listen? Okay, very good. So if you are ready to listen, then sit up straight, eyes on me, and ears on me. So are you ready? Okay, very good. So let us talk about adding and subtracting decimals. Now, first, of course, let me tell you the steps in adding and subtracting decimals. Okay, so the first step to add or subtract decimal, remember to line up the decimal points and put the decimal points in the same column. So that is the first step. Line up the decimal forms, the decimal points, and put them in the same column. And then follow the rules for adding and subtracting whole numbers. Okay? And then, if one number has more decimal places than the other or than another, use the zeros to give them the same number of decimal places. Okay, again, first, you're going to line up the decimal in the same column and then follow the rules in adding and subtracting whole numbers. And remember that if one number has more decimal places than the other, then you're going to use zeros to give them the same number of decimal places. Do you understand? Okay, so now for you to fully understand let me show you a video, okay? So here is the video. Please listen to the video. Do you understand? Okay, so here is the video.
With Mr. J. In this video, we're going to be discussing how to add and subtract decimals and the steps we need to take in order to successfully do so. On your screen, you see 4 problems, 2 addition and 2 subtraction. we're going to work through these 4 together, and if at any point you want to try a couple on your own, feel free to press pause, solve the remaining problems or whichever problems you want to solve, press play when you're ready, and check your work with mine. At the top of your screen in blue, you see the steps to adding and subtracting decimals.
Okay, so those
keep
are the
those in mind
steps.
as we work
The
through. So let's jump right in to number 1. So for number 1, we have 45 and 6 tenths plus 3 and 89 hundredths. So our first step, we need to set the problem vertically or up and down. We need to line up the decimals.
okay, line up
So
the
we'll write
decimal
out
first.
45 and 6 tenths plus 3 and 89 hundredths.
Okay,
The decimals are lined up, therefore all the places are lined up. Now we can insert
place the
placeholder
holder
zeros if need be.
zeros.
So take a look at the 9. It's kind of hanging off to the right. The 3 and 89 hundredths goes to the hundredths place. So we want the 45 and 6 tenths to go to the hundredths place too. That
That's
way
why
we
we are
have
going to
something
put
above the 9
0.
there, and it lines up a little better. You can add zeros to the right of a decimal, and it does not change the value of that number.
Okay,
So again, you can use placeholder zeros to the right of a decimal, and it doesn't change the value. This only works for decimals though. You can't add zeros to the right of whole numbers, or else it does change the value. So use placeholder zeros, and then we can add or subtract. So 0 plus 9 is 9. 6 plus 8 is 14. Carry the 1. Bring your decimal straight down. It should be lined up throughout the whole problem. 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 3 is 9, and then 4. So 49 and 49 hundredths. Number
okay,
2,
that's the
we have
answer for
15
number 1.
plus 4 and 88 hundredths. So for a whole number, we put the decimal right after it.
Okay,
Now we can line up 4 and 88 hundredths. And this is addition. So here, the problem's offset. Like number 1, we had to use placeholder zeros.
yes.
So for the 15,
Put
we
the
can put a 0 in
zeros
the tenths and a 0
two
in the
places,
hundredths.
the tenths
Now
and
we're all lined up and
hundredths.
ready to add. 0 plus 8 is 8. 0 plus 8 is 8.
5
Bring the
plus
decimal
4
straight
equals
down.
9.
5 plus 4 is 9.
And then bring down
1
1.
plus 0 there is 19. Or, I'm
Okay,
sorry, you have the 1 there, which gives us 19. So 19
point
and 88
88
hundredths.
hundredths.
So number 3, we have subtraction, which it's the exact same rules, except when you get to this third step over here, you subtract. So let's write out our problem, lining up the decimals, and it's subtraction. So let's put the placeholder 0 there, and now it's time to subtract. So we cannot do 0 minus 7, so we need to borrow. So now we have 10 minus 7, which is 3. Cannot do 5 minus 6, so we need to borrow. So we get to 15 minus 6, which is 9. Bring the decimal straight down. So we need to borrow again. We can't do 4 minus 9, so we need to borrow from the 3, or the tens place here. And we get 14 minus 9, which is 5.
5.
And then we have the 2. So 25 and 93 hundredths. Line up the decimals, use placeholder zeros,
And add and
add
subtract.
or subtract. So just like
Next.
number 2 here, we have a whole number in number 4. So the 23, and we put the decimal right after.
Yes.
Then we have 8
0.8.
and 8 tenths. And subtract. So let's put the
0
placeholder
there.
0, and we are ready to solve. So we can't do 0 minus 8. Don't just drop the 8 there. We need to borrow. 10 minus 8 is 2.
And then the
Decimal
decimal
straight
point.
down. And we need to borrow again. So 12 minus 8 is 4, and then we have the 1. So 14 and 2/10. So that's adding and subtracting decimals for you, and the rules or steps we need to take in order to get to the correct answer. So make sure you line up your decimals, use placeholder zeros, and then add or subtract. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, peace.
Okay, so that is how you add and subtract decimals. Okay? So first, you're going to place the decimal point in the same column, and then you're going to put zeros. Oh, okay, place holder zeros, and then you're going to add and subtract. Okay, so that is how you add and subtract decimals. Now, I have your question. What are the steps in adding and subtracting decimals, everyone? What are the steps in adding and subtracting decimals? First, we have to line up the decimal points. And then, we're going to place holder zeros. And then, we are going to add and subtract. Okay, so those are the steps in adding and or subtracting decimals. Now, what did you learn today? Okay, so very good. We have learned today about adding and subtracting decimals. Now, in adding and subtracting decimals, first, we have to line up the place, the decimal point first. And then, we are going to put the placeholder zeros, and then that's the time we can add and subtract the decimals. Okay, very good. So if you really did understand the lesson, then let us proceed to your practice exercise. Now that is your practice exercise, and here is your evaluation. Now don't forget to answer your practice exercise and your evaluation because I'm going to check it. Do you understand? Okay, so thank you for listening. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.